Hi, welcome to Gotta Ping, a careers podcast you should listen to if you want to grow your career online and offline. Hi, my name is Mei Ping, and I'm a professional career coach and international speaker with more than a decade of experience at some of the biggest companies in the world. To learn more about what I do, visit meiping.com. That's meiping.com. All right, let's jump right into today's episode. Hi everyone, this is Mei Ping, and welcome back to a brand new episode of my Gotta Ping podcast, a podcast that you should listen to if you are serious about your corporate career. So welcome everybody. In today's episode, I actually want to talk about personal branding and specifically for you as a corporate professional, how you can utilize personal branding in your career. And when I mean apply personal branding in your career, I don't mean it in the context of what social media marketers or personal branding gurus and basically the sales and marketing folks will tell you, but more from a perspective of for somebody who is serious about their corporate career, you don't want to lose out, you want to get ahead, but at the same time, you're not really sure what is this whole personal branding thing and whether you would be comfortable to follow a lot of advice that you see out there on gaining visibility and potentially advice asking you guys to try out things that you may not feel as comfortable as a corporate professional to actually do. So this is something that makes a lot of sense to me because I used to work in the corporate world for many years, and personal branding, or rather you can call it executive presence, you can call it leadership qualities, whatever terminology that you want to call it, at the end of the day, it's about your professional reputation. So if you are somebody who is working in corporate, then my perspective that I want to share with you today is think about personal branding as your professional reputation. I think that is the easiest way to think about what is right for you to do and what I guess is not so suitable for you to do if you take on this perspective. So I've been getting a lot of messages from connections, people, and clients asking me if, this whole personal branding thing is like such a big deal right now. So what can I do and what would still be suitable for me to try out and get out there if I'm also somebody who is actively building my corporate career. So like I said, right, the perspective to really share with you is that if you think about it and you treat it like your professional reputation, then how would you go about it? What are some of the things that you would be comfortable to do online? And how does this match things that you would be comfortable doing at your workplace, at your office? Because when I do a lot of my talks, I always tell my students and participants that your online branding, personal branding, whatever terminology, like I said, you want to call it, it's just an extension of your professional reputation. So as employees, as valuable team members, that we have a certain reputation at our workplace, right? Whether it's good or bad, right? It would depend, of course, right? How you do at work. But each and every one of us have a professional reputation. So for those of you who are kind of like in leadership positions, maybe the other terminology that you hear a lot is executive presence, right? But think about your online branding, be it on LinkedIn or different social media. It's just an extension of that professional reputation. So if you want to be known as a certain person or certain quality that you bring, right, in your corporate job, then how are you translating that online? Is it consistent? Is it aligned? And can I comfortably get to know you as a professional, whether I meet you at the office, I meet you at the workplace, or if I come across some of your comments and your content online, am I still talking to the same person? I guess is the main point that I'm trying to make here. And this is actually a mistake that I see a lot in probably younger professionals a lot more, where in the midst of building their personal branding, what they have forgotten is that if you're currently employed in a corporate job, you do represent your company to a certain extent. So in my personal belief, there is no clear, I built my own personal branding and then I'm just going to ignore my company, even though I'm employed, even though I have already signed the employment contract. So personally, I don't really think this makes sense. But of course, these things is up for debate, right? So my view always is, if LinkedIn, if other social medias are additional platforms that you could get on, then you could get exposed, then you just want to make sure that your reputation and whatever quality that you're trying to portray remains consistent across any platform. So sometimes it's quite confusing when I meet people and they portray themselves a certain way, maybe online. And when I meet them, maybe face to face or in separate conversations, I find that they're actually very different people. And this is very confusing from a professional reputation standpoint, especially for those of you who are ambitious, right? You want to climb the corporate ladder, you want to have better job opportunities, better career opportunities down the road. Just make sure that you understand the point that people do try to get to know you across different platforms. So it can create a lot of confusion if you're portraying yourself in a very different way across different platforms. So the big tip here is that if you really want to be your fluffy self, then of course, privacy is one thing. You can always go for like private mode, and a lot of my clients actually do that on Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. But if you choose to put yourself out there, then just make sure that you understand that people are looking at what you say, people are looking at what you do, and they are making judgments whether you like it or not. And for me, as a former hiring manager, even before we interview candidates, we tend to go on LinkedIn and go on Google just to Google the candidate, and then we just see stuff that they may have said, right? The way that they behaved online, and maybe some other previous, history. I guess the word is history. And at certain points, we do make judgment calls on whether we would feel comfortable even meeting the potential candidate. And even at the workplace, there were also instances where I have not just seen, but personally experienced as well, where certain people at work, right, they are not exactly delivering. Rather, they're not exactly meeting the quality standards, right, meeting the actual deliverables from their boss or their manager. But we see a lot of activity from that staff on LinkedIn, particularly. And, it comes across, whether rightly or wrongly, comes across that, okay, this staff is not focused on the actual work that needs to be done because the quality is poor, but this staff is apparently very free to spend a lot of time on LinkedIn and commenting and just being really, really active, building his personal brand. So let me remind you guys that if this is happening to you, or this is happening to your peers or people around you, then just a quick, realization for you is that if you go down that path in the journey of building your personal brand, as what the social media marketers will tell you, you are immediately destroying your professional reputation. So back to that example that I shared earlier, for that one staff, maybe on LinkedIn and different platforms, right, he or she is gaining popularity because, clearly he or she is spending a lot of their working hours on this platform trying to engage, network, and build friends, whatever that is. But guess what? The actual people around this person is not happy with his or her job. And do you actually think that this person will get any referrals in the future if the people working around him or her already knows that, he or she is unreliable and just spends a lot of time trying to build this form over actual competence? So just like I said, right, it's not that personal branding is bad, but just recognize that it is part of your professional reputation. And if you don't want people to see you a certain way, then make sure that you actively manage that. The other thing also is that make sure that there is always alignment between who you are and I guess who you're portraying yourself as a professional, online as well as offline. So that's why I always say that even in a lot of the stuff that I do, it's about, if you want to grow your career, make sure that you're aligning, right? Online, offline, growing your career both online and offline. Because if you take the concept correctly, you are actually able to move forward faster. But if you're trying like very, very hard online, but offline, you're totally neglecting your competence, you're totally neglecting your work, right? In the favor of like getting more attention online, it will backfire immediately. If the other way around is also not good, right? You can all have a really good professional reputation at work, but if you don't have an online brand, or people are totally not aware of like who you are, then you will actually miss out on career opportunities as well. So it's really a balance, I'd say, between the two, and just always make sure that you guys take note of that. Okay, so this is actually a really quick podcast episode. I just want to really talk about professional reputation, but I hope that you guys find the short episodes helpful. And going forward, I will definitely be recording the live sessions of my careers podcast that will go live every Thursday. And this will only be short episodes so that you guys can take note of the main point that I'm sharing and have a really clear takeaway. So that's why I'm actually going back to my original format of having only 10 to 12 minutes of short podcast episodes, but really, really packed with a really key point that you can take away and just, think about it over the next couple of days. So with that, I will see you guys in the next episode next Thursday. See you guys. Thank you for listening to this episode. For more awesome content like this, remember to like and subscribe. Also, head on over to my website, meiping.com, that's meiping.com, and subscribe to my weekly newsletter for more career growth and personal development tips. You can find the links in the description box below. Once again, you're listening to Gotta Ping, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!